Men have been taught for years that the right pickup line, the right look, or the right text will win a woman over, but I'm here to tell you it's not about the line, it's about the energy behind the words. There's a phrase, a truth, that if spoken from a grounded, masculine core, will pierce right through her emotional defenses. Let's break it down. I know what I want. It sounds simple, almost too simple, right? But in a world full of indecisiveness, passive behavior, and emotional inconsistency, those 5 words can be like thunder in a woman's ears, if spoken from the right place. When a man says this with certainty, he's not just stating a preference. He's broadcasting to the world that he has clarity of mind, direction, and internal alignment. And trust me, that's rare. Most men today are afraid to want. They fear that expressing desire makes them needy, controlling, or too intense. So instead, they tiptoe, they test the waters, they wait for signs of interest, for approval, for a green light. They suppress their wants to avoid rejection, but the moment you dilute your desire, you weaken your masculine essence. Women don't respond to watered-down energy. They don't connect with hesitation. They connect with certainty. When you say, I know what I want, you're not just talking about her. You're talking about life. Purpose, direction, identity. This phrase, when rooted in experience and self-awareness, creates a gravitational pull, because a man who knows what he wants is a man who has thought deeply about his path. He doesn't chase, he attracts, he doesn't over-explain, he expresses, he doesn't beg, he offers. That difference is everything. Think about this. Most men try to mirror what they think a woman wants to hear. They shape, shift, they guess, they play roles, but the truth is, women can sense when a man is trying to fit into a box. They may entertain it for a while, but they won't respect it. What they truly desire is a man who walks into her life already full, already whole, not looking to be completed, not seeking validation. Just a man with grounded conviction who says, I know what I want, and I choose you, not because I need you, but because I desire you. It's this foundation of wanting without needing that creates magnetic tension. You don't collapse into her. You don't obsess over her response. You aren't moved by her mood swings, or her silence, or even her temporary rejection, because your want isn't tied to outcome. It's an expression of truth. When you want her but don't need her, she feels safe in your presence. She knows you're not pretending, not performing. She feels the difference between attention and intention. Saying, I know what I want, is also a challenge. It's a line in the sand. It says, this is who I am, this is what I value, and this is the direction I'm heading. That line either invites her deeper or reveals that she's not aligned with your path. And that's okay, because a man who knows what he wants doesn't chase compatibility. He embodies it, he filters, he selects. He lets women opt in or out. And here's the paradox. The less you need them to choose you, the more they want to. But don't get it twisted. This only works when it's real, when you've done the inner work, when your words are backed by action, when your lifestyle supports your identity. You can't fake certainty. You can't memorize a script and expect it to land. Women are intuitive. They don't listen to the words as much as they feel the man behind them. If you say, I know what I want, but you live in confusion, delay decisions, and ask her to lead, she'll feel the disconnect instantly. So if you're going to speak this truth, own it. Know what you stand for. Know what kind of relationship you want. Know how you want to be treated. Know what kind of energy you allow into your life. Speak from a place that says, I've thought this through. I'm not guessing. I'm not playing games. I'm not here to impress. I'm here to live aligned. That's what makes the phrase powerful. That's what makes it irresistible. You don't have to be perfect with me. These words cut through the noise. They bypass the surface-level scripts, the endless performances, and the masks that people wear in modern dating. When a man says this with calm, grounded confidence, he offers something that most women rarely encounter: emotional safety. Not fake reassurance, not manipulation disguised as flattery, but real, raw safety that says, "You can breathe now." You don't need to hide behind perfection. You can show up as you are. In today's world, women are constantly being told to be more beautiful, more successful, more composed, more appealing. Social media filters everything. Expectations rise, imperfections are shamed, the pressure to be effortlessly attractive and emotionally balanced 24/7 is enormous. So what do women do? They hide. They become hyper, aware of how they're being perceived. They play it cool when they're hurting. They downplay their needs. They polish their words and suppress their truth because they've been conditioned to believe that being their full, unfiltered self is too much. But when a man looks a woman in the eyes and says, "You don't have to be perfect with me," something shifts. It's not just the words. It's the energy underneath them. It says, "I see you, the messy, chaotic, emotional, human version of you, and I don't flinch, I don't run. I don't need you to shrink yourself for me to stay." That is healing, that is rare, and that, right there, is the start of genuine intimacy. Understand something. Emotional safety doesn't mean weakness. It's not about coddling. It's not about being overly sensitive or bending over backward to accommodate emotional instability. No, it's about creating an environment where truth can exist, where masks come off, where honesty replaces performance. When you say, "You don't have to be perfect," what you're really doing is saying, "I can hold space for all of you, not just the parts that are easy to love." This is where trust is built. When a woman realizes she doesn't have to audition for your attention, when she knows that her rough edges won't scare you off, she starts to open up. She starts to relax into your presence. And that kind of surrender doesn't come from pressure. It comes from feeling understood. That's what makes it powerful, because most women are used to admiration for their appearance or their accomplishments. But being accepted, fully, deeply, unconditionally, that's a whole different level. And here's the paradox. The more a woman feels that she doesn't have to be perfect around you, the more beautiful and real she becomes. The walls drop, the rehearsed lines disappear, the guarded smiles melt into something softer, something more authentic. That's when she starts to feel you, not just hear you. That's when she starts to connect, not to your looks, your status, or your words, but to your presence. But let's be clear, you don't offer this kind of space from a needy place. You don't say, "You don't have to be perfect," because you're trying to earn her affection. That's weak. You say it because you've done your inner work, because you're no longer trying to control how people see you, so you don't need to control how they show up. You've made peace with your own imperfections, so you're not threatened by hers. That level of grounded masculinity creates freedom. When you give a woman permission to be real, you create a bond that's rooted in truth. And truth is stronger than attraction. It's deeper than chemistry. It outlasts looks and lust. And once a woman feels that kind of emotional freedom around you, she will start to crave your presence, not because you dazzled her with charm, but because you gave her the one thing the world rarely gives her, the space to just be asterisk. She stops performing. She stops testing. She stops wondering if she has to maintain an image to keep your interest. And when a woman no longer feels the need to perform, what's left is real connection. A connection that isn't based on manipulation, games, or tactics, but on truth. A connection that doesn't burn out after the chase, because there was no chase to begin with. There was only presence. There was only, you don't have to be perfect with me. And that, said with masculine certainty and emotional maturity, is something no woman forgets. This is what I expect and what I won't tolerate. These words are not about controlling someone else's behavior. They're about defining your own standards. They are a declaration of self-respect, boundaries, and clarity, qualities that instantly elevate a man in the eyes of a woman, because let's face it, most men today are afraid to set boundaries. They think that by doing so, they'll come off as rigid, demanding, or even toxic, so they tolerate things they shouldn't. They allow disrespect, inconsistency, and emotional manipulation, all because they fear losing the woman. But what they don't realize is that by avoiding confrontation, they're losing themselves. A man without standards is like a ship without a compass. He gets tossed around by emotion, approval, seeking, and the chaotic waves of someone else's mood. He becomes reactive, not proactive, and worse, he becomes forgettable, because women don't remember the man who bent to every request, who tolerated every red flag, who said yes when he wanted to say no. They remember the man who was unapologetically rooted in his values, even if it made others uncomfortable. When you say, "This is what I expect and what I won't tolerate," you're doing something powerful. You're inviting her into a space of mutual respect, not compliance. You're saying, "I am not here to control you, but I'm also not here to lose myself trying to keep you." That balance of masculine clarity and emotional discipline is magnetic. It tells her that your love is not unconditional in a blind, self-sacrificing way. It's conditional on mutual growth, respect, and effort. And that's healthy, that's rare, that's real. Now, most people confuse expectations with entitlement. But there's a massive difference. Entitlement says, "You owe me this because I exist." Expectation says, "I've done the inner work. I've created a life of order and discipline, and I invite only what aligns with that." One is rooted in insecurity, the other in power. One chases approval, the other filters energy. Women can sense which one you're operating from without you saying a word. If you have no expectations, you allow chaos. You attract women who are not emotionally ready, who test boundaries, who confuse love with attention and connection with control. And you'll be stuck in an endless loop of trying to fix things, to prove your worth, to keep her interested. But the moment you speak clearly and calmly about what you will and will not accept, the dynamic shifts. You stop playing defense and start living from your center, and here's the catch. When you communicate your standards, some women will walk away. Good, let them, that's the point. Boundaries aren't meant to keep people in. They're meant to keep the wrong energy out. You don't want a woman who stays because she can manipulate you, or because you tolerate her worst behavior without consequence. You want a woman who rises to meet the standard, not one who tries to drag it down. But setting expectations requires courage. It requires you to risk being alone rather than be disrespected. It forces you to face the truth that some connections are temporary and that not everyone deserves a place in your inner world. That's the price of leadership, because a man who leads doesn't chase validation. He attracts alignment. When you speak your standards, you also create polarity. Feminine energy responds to direction, to structure, to a container. That doesn't mean domination. It means security. A woman feels more feminine, more free, when she knows you're not afraid to speak truth, hold the line and walk away if necessary, and when she senses that you don't just say it, but leave it, she respects you on a primal level. Respect turns into trust. Trust turns into surrender. That's the formula. But remember, you must leave your expectations, not just recite them. It's not enough to say, "I won't tolerate disrespect." If you constantly entertain mixed signals, dishonesty, or emotional games, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. Your actions must mirror your words. Your decisions must reflect your standards. Otherwise, it's just noise. When you say, "This is what I expect and what I won't tolerate," you become a filter, not a sponge. You stop absorbing chaos and you start filtering it out. You attract women who are drawn not just to your looks, your charm, or your status, but to the integrity of your masculine presence. You become the standard. And once you become the standard, everything else aligns or exits. Either way, you win. I see you. These three words hold a profound power that few men truly understand or practice. To say, "I see you," isn't about surface-level compliments or flattery. It's not about noticing her dress, her smile, or her physical beauty alone. It's about truly perceiving the essence of who she is beyond appearances, beyond social masks, beyond the stories she tells the world. It's about looking deeper into her soul, into the layers of her experiences, her fears, her desires, her struggles, and her brilliance. When you say, "I see you," with genuine presence, you are giving her a rare gift, acknowledgement. In today's fast-paced world, people are often invisible in the crowd. Women, despite all the attention they get, often feel unseen in the way that truly matters. They're admired, objectified, judged, or misunderstood, but rarely are they seen. Not really. To be truly seen means to have someone recognize your authentic self, including the parts you might hide out of fear, shame, or vulnerability. It means being met with acceptance and presence, not judgment or expectation. When a man says, "I see you," he is telling her that he's not interested in just the surface-level version she presents. He's not chasing an ideal or a fantasy. He's engaging with the real, flawed, complex woman sitting in front of him. That creates a deep emotional resonance, because everyone longs to be known, to be understood, to be witnessed. But this isn't easy. It requires patience, empathy, and true listening. It demands that you quiet your own agenda, your distractions, and your need to control the narrative. Instead, you open space for her to show herself fully, and in that moment she can relax, she can drop the armor, she can let down the walls. To see someone means you catch the subtle signs, the micro expressions, the hesitation in her voice, the pain behind a smile. You recognize when she's hurting but trying to hide it. You notice the way her eyes light up when she talks about her passions. You understand the contradictions within her, the strength and vulnerability, the confidence and insecurity, and you accept them all without trying to fix or change her. This kind of seeing is rare because it takes courage. It takes a man who isn't threatened by the truth of her complexity, who can hold space for her darkness and her light, who can meet her without needing to mold her into his ideal. It's a humility that's deeply masculine. It's a strength wrapped in softness. When you truly see a woman, something profound happens to her. She feels validated on a level words can't describe. She feels safe to explore herself and her emotions. She feels respected not just for what she does or how she looks, but for who she is beneath it all, and that kind of validation is intoxicating. It creates a magnetic pull not because you're chasing her, but because you're connecting with her in a way no one else has. Women often guard their true selves because they've been hurt by people who only wanted a version of them, a version that fit their needs or expectations. But when a man says, "I see you," and truly means it, he becomes a mirror for her soul. He reflects back her authenticity, her beauty, and her worth, and that reflection builds trust. It builds intimacy. It builds a foundation that no superficial attraction can touch. But seeing isn't just about observation, it's about action. It means responding to what you see with kindness, respect, and support. It means remembering the details she shares, the struggles she faces, and the dreams she holds. It means being present, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. It means choosing to engage with her complexity, rather than simplify or dismiss it. When you cultivate this kind of deep seeing, you shift the entire dynamic. You move from transactional interactions into transformative connections. You stop being just another man in her life and become someone rare, a man who truly understands her, and that is a power no woman can resist because it taps into the deepest human need, to be seen, to be known, and to be loved for exactly who she is. I've got you. These three words might seem simple, but when spoken from a place of unwavering masculine certainty, they become a lifeline. In a world that constantly demands women to be strong, independent, and emotionally self-sufficient, these words are like a deep exhale. They signal safety, they signal presence, they signal that she no longer has to carry the weight of everything alone. "I've got you" is not about rescuing, it's not about control, it's about support. It's about protection, not possession. It's a message that says, "You can lean on me, I'm here. You don't have to do it all by yourself anymore." So many women have had to be in survival mode for so long that they don't even know what it feels like to truly relax into a man's presence. They've learned to anticipate disappointment. They've built emotional armor to protect themselves from men who couldn't show up, couldn't stay consistent, couldn't handle their complexity. They've had to become both the nurturer and the protector in their own lives. And while they may be proud of their strength, and rightfully so, deep down many of them are tired. They don't want to carry the whole emotional load in a relationship. They want a man who can meet them where they are. A man who can say, without flinching, "I've got you," and mean it. But what does it really mean for a man to say, "I've got you"? It means being emotionally available, not just physically present. It means being a calming presence in the storm, not another source of chaos. It means listening deeply, not just hearing her words, but understanding the emotions underneath them. It means knowing when to step forward and lead, and when to step back and hold space. It means showing her, not telling her, that you are someone who follows through, who honors your word, who shows up even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. It doesn't mean solving all her problems. It means being the kind of man who can hold steady while she solves her own. It means not being intimidated by her emotions, her depth, or her intensity. It means not flinching when she expresses pain or vulnerability. It means staying grounded even when she's not. That kind of presence doesn't just make her feel safe. It allows her to be her fullest, truest self, and that is something most women rarely experience. When a woman hears, "I've got you," from a man who's aligned, she feels it. Not just in the words, but in his energy, in the way he looks at her, in the way he remembers the small things, in the way he pays attention to what she's not saying, in the way he holds her without needing to fix her, in the way he gives her space without abandoning her, in the way he protects her energy not because she's weak, but because he respects her value. And here's the truth most men miss. Women don't want to be saved. They want to be supported. There's a difference. Saving implies she's broken. Supporting implies she's powerful, but she doesn't have to do it alone. When you say, "I've got you," you're not diminishing her strength. You're enhancing it. You're allowing her to rest in her feminine, to soften, to stop fighting for control all the time, because she knows you're not going to disappear when things get hard. She knows you won't retreat when she's vulnerable. She knows you can handle the full spectrum of who she is. This level of commitment requires a man who is solid in himself, a man who doesn't need validation, a man who is rooted in his purpose, a man who can carry his own emotional weight and still have the capacity to support another. If you're still looking to a woman to complete you, to validate your masculinity, to make you feel enough, you're not ready to say, "I've got you," because you don't have yourself yet. But when you do, when you truly have your own back, then your presence becomes medicine to the feminine. She may test you, not to manipulate, but to see if your strength is real. She may resist at first, because she's been let down before. But if you stay steady, if you keep showing up, if your actions match your words, she will begin to trust. And once a woman trusts that you've got her, truly got her, she will open to you in ways that most men will never experience. Because now she feels safe, not just to love, but to fully be. And that safety doesn't come from dominance or force. It comes from emotional maturity. It comes from consistency. It comes from patience. It comes from knowing that leadership isn't about control, it's about responsibility. Saying, "I've got you," isn't a line, it's a lifestyle. It's something you live out daily through your actions, your tone, your presence, and your integrity. It's the energy of a man who leads not with ego, but with grounded strength. And that energy, once felt, is unforgettable. I respect you. These three words may sound ordinary, but when they're delivered with deep conviction, they carry a weight that pierces through emotional walls and reshapes the way a woman sees you. Respect is more than politeness or good manners. It's a form of reverence. And when a man says to a woman, "I respect you," and actually lives that truth through his words, his decisions, and his energy, something profound happens. She feels honored, she feels safe, she feels seen not just for what she offers, but for who she is at her core. Most women are used to being desired, many are used to being pursued, but very few are used to being respected, because respect goes deeper than desire. Desire says, "I want you." Respect says, "I value you." And while desire can fade, respect is what builds trust, longevity, and emotional depth. When a man respects a woman, he doesn't treat her like a conquest, a project, or a problem to solve. He treats her like an equal, not in a superficial, performative way, but in the way he listens, the way he honors her choices, and the way he recognizes her intelligence, her intuition, and her independence. Respect means giving her space to be her full self, without trying to reduce her to a role or label. It means you're not intimidated by her strength, nor are you trying to dim her light to make yourself feel brighter. You're not threatened by her opinions or defensive when she challenges you. You welcome her truth even when it's uncomfortable. You create an environment where she can express without filtering, feel without apologizing, and evolve without restriction. And that is incredibly rare. A woman who feels respected will trust more deeply. She will drop the need to control, to test, to guard. She will lean into her softness because she knows she won't be taken advantage of. She'll step fully into her feminine power because she senses that the masculine in front of her is secure enough to hold it. And the man who gives her that space becomes unforgettable, because he's not just reacting to her surface, he's engaging with her essence. Respect also means you have boundaries, that you value yourself, and therefore you value others. It means you don't tolerate disrespect, not from her, not from anyone, because you lead by example. It means you're not just respectful when it's easy or convenient, but especially when it's hard. When emotions are high, when disagreements arise, when the dynamic is tested, that's when true respect reveals itself. Can you stay composed without being cold? Can you speak truth without being cruel? Can you maintain your integrity when you're tempted to lower your standards? That's what earns real respect in return. And when you say, "I respect you," you are also giving her permission to respect herself, to stop shrinking, to stop performing, to stop second guessing. You affirm her worth in a way that no compliment or gift ever could. Because respect doesn't flatter, it uplifts. It doesn't manipulate, it honors. And it doesn't demand, it invites. It invites honesty, loyalty, effort, and accountability. It becomes the foundation of every other form of connection, from intimacy to trust to passion. A man who respects a woman doesn't just love her when it's easy, he loves her when she's complex. When she's moody, uncertain, guarded, or even fearful. He sees her whole, and because he respects her, he doesn't try to change her to fit his comfort zone. He supports her growth, encourages her dreams, and celebrates her strength even when it surpasses his own. That kind of support doesn't make him weaker. It makes him more masculine, because true masculinity doesn't compete with the feminine, it complements it. And here's the irony: the more you respect her, the more desire she'll feel for you. Because for a woman, desire is often rooted in how safe, seen, and cherished she feels. And nothing awakens those feelings more than genuine respect. It's not about putting her on a pedestal, it's about walking beside her as an equal, while still leading with strength and clarity. That dynamic creates polarity, trust, and admiration. It builds something far more powerful than lust, devotion. So when you say, "I respect you," it's not just something you say to impress her. It's a commitment. A code, a standard you hold in every interaction. It shows in how you speak, how you touch, how you listen, and how you lead. It's reflected in the way you value her time, her voice, her energy. It's present in the way you walk away from drama, but not from accountability. In the way you stay grounded when things get emotional. In the way you elevate her by simply being who you are, without manipulation, without games, without ego. A woman might forget the gifts you bought or the compliments you gave, but she will never forget how you made her feel respected. Because when a woman feels respected, she feels loved in the most dignified and empowering way possible. She connects not just with her heart, but with her soul, and that kind of connection built on deep respect is something she will chase, crave, and cherish long after anything else fades. So remember, these words have power, but only when they're backed by presence, integrity, and truth. When you say things like, "I see you," "I've got you," or "I respect you," you're not just speaking to a woman's ears, you're speaking to her soul. And when those words come from a man who lives them, breathes them, and embodies them, no woman can resist. Because deep down, every woman longs for more than charm or attraction. She longs for depth, for safety, for reverence. Be the man who offers that, and you won't need to chase her. She'll feel drawn to you in ways she doesn't even understand.